it's only logical, because if every few years African governments representatives go for FOCAC, the Forum for Africa China Cooperation, expecting a lot of goodies, you won't want to be the government that would be isolated for speaking, tough to your benefactor. You probably won't even be comfortable going for FOCAC if you, criticized, in a very tough manner, Beijing. You won't be comfortable criticizing. And that was the point a minister was talking about, that even if the Nigerian lawmakers want to investigate the loans, the Chinese loans, if they want more transparency, probity, please let us get the loan we're expecting from China first. Then you can do whatever probe. And that is the same mentality. Governments don't want to offend. They don't want to irritate, China, Beijing. But the people on the other side recently are not sharing that same view. Before now, Africans know what is happening. Africans can see the infrastructure. Africans understand the relevance, the importance of infrastructure. We know the linkage between infrastructure and development. And that is why a few years back, not even a few, recently, when you look at the polls, majority of Africans tend to have this positive disposition to China because they can see it. They can see the roads. They can see the bad roads being transformed. They can see the railway, lines. They can see the positive manifestation of China on the continent. We can see it. In front of my university, a railway will be constructed by China. And you can imagine the psychological, the implication of that on the students that will graduate from my university, for instance, when they know that the railway that passes in front of their university was constructed by this country that America is always criticizing. You get the point. So, but the challenge comes when Chinese companies and Beijing is not reacting as fast, as quick as possible to some of these negative stories of maltreatment. And you know what? In the era of social media, things go global. And the internet really does not forget, neither does it forgive. So we have pictures of Nigerians being thrown out, Africans and Nigerians being thrown out of their hotels during COVID. What kind of friend does that to a friend during COVID, kicking your friends out? That was the narrative. It was being covered in the news. And Beijing had to, stagger to look for some kind of explanation. And, it was really embarrassing when you had, it's online. As we speak, it is online. When you have, you have a Nigerian diplomat coming out publicly, being recorded and talking and asking questions. Why should my people be treated this way? Why should our passport be seized? So those dents are also being registered, in the African, the Nigerian memory. Things like this are being, questions, this win-win partnership, friendship, and this all-weather friend kind of narrative that China is hoping to put forward. And that is the context. And it is not only in Nigeria. When Africans were attacked, you can just check the media coverage. People, in fact, some of the media coverage were not even looking at the country per se. Yes, eventually they were now narrowing down to some of the countries, the nationals that were actually being affected. But at some point, people were talking, the African press were talking about Africans being maltreated, not Nigerians being maltreated. African, the black. And this is happening within a context where people, are also talking about Black Lives Matters. So China, unfortunately for its, for the country that wants to project itself as Africa's all-weather friend, during decolonization, they were there supporting. After independence, they were there. Tazara, Chinese contractors died during Tazara. But all that is just gradually being forgotten when you see some of these negative, bad press that China is, thinking about. And that is how, that image of that friend, that superstar friend that has managed to survive the Cultural Revolution to become the second biggest economy in the world. That image of, our friend on top. The first president of Nigeria, President Obasanjo, was saying, when I think, was it President Ujinta was in Nigeria, was saying, oh, if you're going to the moon, please don't forget to take us there. So those positive, statements, talks is being dented openly by some of these maltreatments. And that is where the ordinary people, because this thing, you can imagine the way some of the videos of the maltreatment and news stories circulated on social media, on WhatsApp, so when you now place that with the Chinese constructing infrastructure, there is a serious dent. There is a serious dent.